Hi Jay, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing fine. So you're about to enter your sixth season here with the Redskins.
Yeah.
Um, how have you done it so far? I mean, there's been ups, there's been downs. Kind of assess where you are in terms of your standing with the franchise. Where you thought things might be when you took the job, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, my standing with the franchise, I think, is solid because I'm still here. So I think I think the one thing you have to understand as a pro football coach, NFL coach, is this is a year-to-year business, man, and we get excited as heck for the next coming year. And this is the game one for us. We're excited, fired up with the team that we have. We feel like we go out and compete. Obviously, the last two seasons we've kind of been decimated with injuries, especially to our offensive line, and then last year to our quarterbacks and our offensive line again. But we've been able to build within the draft with some key young players that are going to contribute mightily here on Sunday, hopefully. So feel good about the team that we have. We just have to mesh somehow, some way offensively. We got a starting left tackle and left guard that never played here for us, a quarterback that's never played here before. Our tight ends, we'll see how they do. They're the most experienced guys, but we got, five receivers are going to be up on Sunday, and Paul Richardson, the most experienced, he only had 20 catches last year. So most of those guys have zero in their career. Trey Quinn's got about 8. So we got a very inexperienced group, and Darius Geis can be our starting back likely. He had 0 carries last year. So I'm excited to watch these guys play offensively. But defensively is where we have to make our hay. We have to win some close games, some tight games, some low-scoring games possibly early until we figure out a way to come together on offense. And I feel like we have the ability on defense, and that's really where we've been building through the draft with Ioannidis and Payne and Jonathan Allen and now Montez Sweat, Sean Dion Hamilton. Obviously, getting a couple key free agents like Landon Collins and Josh Norman have helped out a lot. Getting Stroman in the draft, getting Jimmy Moreland in the draft, Fabian Moreau in a draft. Who's the other one? Outside linebacker. Oh yeah, Ryan Anderson in the draft. So Settle in the draft. So we've drafted pretty well on defense. So we expect them to play very well. Monte Nicholson. So it's exciting to watch these guys play.
Jay, you mentioned 5 receivers dressing. Is one of them Kelvin? And then so what have you seen from Kelvin Harmon this year? He's a local kid. South Jersey product. I think a lot of people expected him to go earlier in the draft, 6th-round pick. What did you see from him? Is he expected to play this week? Just kind of your thoughts on Kelvin overall.
Well, I think Kelvin, he didn't run a great 40 time. That's why he dropped. But if you look at his production at NC State, he's a big, strong-handed receiver, and he's also physical. I actually, before the draft, I compared him to, I was at Cincinnati, Mohamed Sanu. I compared them. They had the same size, same speed, same short shuttle, same strength on the bench, about almost identical. Mo's a really smart player. He played every position, but Kelvin wasn't asked to play every position at NC State because they had the other good slot that went to the Patriots, who's playing pretty well. So I just think I like physicality at flanker. Nowadays, these little guys that go in there, and if you want to run the ball, they have to go out and dig out guys like Malcolm Jenkins, and they ain't going to do it. So if we want to play physical football, you got to get physical wideouts, and he fits the mold. Him and Robert Davis, 2 big physical receivers. Terry McLaren, he's shown the ability to block and be a physical receiver. So that's kind of where we're at with those guys. That's why we kept them, and that's why we drafted them.
Is he expected to be dressed on? Is he going to play? You mentioned 5 receivers. Is he one of those 5, Kelvin?
We haven't made that decision. We got 6 guys that we have to choose from, probably 5 on game day. A lot's going to have to do with how Paul Richardson comes along and see if he's full speed today in practice. And if he is, then we'll have to make a decision with, Sims, Harmon, probably, and Robert Davis, and whichever one can help us most on special teams, we'll probably go with them. And but we feel good about all 6 of them playing. Just a matter of we want to play the most healthy guys, number one, and then we'll make a decision probably based on special teams come game day.
Jay, you talked about your relative inexperience on offense. When you see the Eagles' offense, a team that has a lot of experience, a lot of weapons, what do you see from them, and what do you think's the key in kind of trying to contain them?
Well, I think the key is a lot of people make a big deal about third downs and red zone and all that stuff and turnovers, which those are the main keys. But I think first, second down are the biggest keys. I think when they stay on track, when Coach Peterson stays on track as a play caller with his runs and his play actions and his bootlegs, they're very effective. They can hit you a lot of different ways. So we got to do really good on first down to try to get them in second and long. I made a point today. I think we had our first 6 first and downs against the Eagles at home last year. I think we threw an interception, lost 3 yards, had a holding call, lost 4 yards, and lost lost 2 yards, and you get in second and long, and that's a tough down in the NFL with a young offense. So we had to do good on first down, and that means physical up front to stop their running game, which they've had success with, and then make sure we're sound in our coverage when they run the play action passes and the bootlegs, which they've hurt us with.
Jay, you mentioned your youth on the left side of the line. Obviously, with no Trent there, you're facing I'd say one of the best defensive lines in the game. How are you preparing? How are you trying to handle that, with the pressure the Eagles can bring without a guy like Trent in the lineup?
Yeah, it's hard. Penn's played a lot of football in his day, so he's a more comfortable. He tried to play at right tackle last year at Oakland. He didn't fare as well, probably right side, but I think he's a better left tackle. He's more comfortable. He's been playing that his whole career. He's blocked many guys. So we just got to count on them coming together and making some plays. We added Flowers at left guard, and he's a big physical guy. Hopefully, can match some of their power and some of their movement. And then obviously Brandon Sheriff's back, who I don't think played last year against the Eagles. He'll help us out a lot. And then Morgan Moses still solid, and Chase Roulier is the solid center. So, the left side obviously is the biggest concern, just because they haven't played together, and Flowers has never played guard before. So we just got to do a good job of making sure we stay on track in the play calling, not get too many third and longs. And if we get behind a couple touchdowns, we got to throw it every down. That's where the problems will mainly arise. And it doesn't matter who's playing. We've figured that out the last few years when we are healthy. The times we beat them is when we're close or in the lead, and we can still be balanced on offense. And that's the key, is staying balanced on offense, and that'll help the offensive line.
Jay, your situation at quarterback is similar to what the Eagles were going to have a couple of years ago after they drafted Carson. They had Sam Bradford, who was going to be the starter, and Carson was going to learn under him, and then, of course, they traded Bradford. How are you handling the situation with Dwayne and Case the way it is now?
Yeah, I think right now the thing with Dwayne is we want him to just take a step back, not take a step back, but I need him to get in the learning role, and he needs to prepare like a pro, like a starter, and want to see how he does. And we'll just continue to challenge him every day in the meeting room and see where he is. And it's our quarterback coach's job, it's our coordinator's job, it's my job to make sure that he's picking up everything we're adding, because each week is a different game plan, and you have to learn it, and you have to study, you have to prepare. And then when your number's called, which it could be called the first play of the game, you never know, he's got to be ready to go. So we just think at this time, this stage in his career, with the experience that Case has, he gives us the best chance week one. Development of Dwayne is going to be dependent on how he handles it in a backup role, as far as not getting the reps, but getting the mental reps and learning. And I feel good that he'll put the work in, and when his number is called, he'll be ready, whether it's week 1 or week 10 or next year. Who knows?
Nothing against Case, but as a head coach, and particularly one with an offensive background, do you kind of, I don't know if relish is the right word, but it's a rare opportunity to get a young quarterback that talented, drafted that high, who you get a chance to coach, and that can mean good things for a coach's future. I mean, is that something you're cognizant of, aware of?
Had nothing to do with my future, really. We just took the best player on the board at that time. We thought it was Dwayne. At the time we had Colt coming back with a 1-year contract. We added obviously Case. I think he's got a 1-year contract, and we obviously needed a third quarterback with what we went through last year, losing Alex and Colt, and then we moved on Sanchez. We played our fourth quarterback. We're teaching a snap count week 13, 14. So we understand the importance of the quarterback position. If you have a chance to get one early in a draft, you have to do it. And if he plays year 1 or year 2 or year 3, then so be it. But you got to have them on your roster. You got to develop in your building, and when you feel like they're ready to play, then you got to put them in there. Just right now at this time, we feel like Case is a little bit more ready, experience-wise. If you think about it, Dwayne only had really 1 year of playing at Ohio State, so he's still relatively inexperienced. Great, talented kid, but he needs to sit back just a little bit and watch how these NFL games go, watch how the preparation is, how it's supposed to be done. And that's great having a guy like Case and Colt and Alex around to show him what it's all about.
Jay, I don't know if you've been asked before about Deshaun. You had him for 3 years. He's one of those guys that does not have to be targeted to have an impact on a defense, does he?
No, he doesn't, but he has to be targeted to have, if you want him to like you or not. I mean, hell, he can get pretty frustrated at times with me, but I love Deshaun, man. He made our team better, that's for sure, and he can take the top off, and like you said, even if he just runs a deep post route, takes two with him, it opens it up for Zach Ertz or Alshon Jeffrey, then that's something he's starting to understand, that is just as important as him getting the ball. And, I think he's a guy that if he has 40 catches for 900 yards for the Eagles, I think it's a huge success, because the times that he's in there and he doesn't have a catch, he's going to open it up for other guys. And we have to be aware of him. There's no doubt about it. He can still run. He's very talented. He's the best ball tracker. Him and, I had AJ Green as well. They're both great ball trackers, but balls in the air, he goes get it, man. He's like a center fielder. He's a great player.
It looked like for both you and when he went to Tampa, I mean, the guys that benefited the most of all were the inside guys, the tight ends, the slot receivers. I mean, Crowder and Jordan Reed when you had him, because it opens up that middle of the field, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. There's certain coverages that teams play that they're not going to vary from. There's some single high defenses that he's going to see, but he at least gets the corner the heck out of there. They play soft. You can throw underneath routes to people in front of the corners and the crossing routes behind the backers. But he's definitely a threat that everybody knows who he is and where he is. But the problem is they have, the Eagles have, Alshon Jeffrey, who's a really good player, and obviously Zach Ertz, who had over 100 catches last year, and obviously Dallas is a good tight end. So they've kind of run their offense inside out, kind of like we have in the past with Jordan Reed and Chris Thompson. But they now they have a big speed guy outside that'll really help them, I think.
Hey, Jay, you guys just signed Wendell Smallwood off the Eagles roster. I was wondering, what you guys saw in him, and also have you been going to him at all for any insight on the Eagles?
Well, I mean, there's obviously going to be some conversations, but really at the end of the day, we have no idea what Doug's going to call, when he's going to call it, or what they're going to call on defense and when they're going to call it. And we know that I know that he can tell me all he wants about the defense. I know Malcolm Jenkins is one of the best safeties in the league, and I know Fletcher Cox is unbelievable, and Brandon Graham's given us problems every time we played him. So there's nothing he can really give me. But I think the big reason we signed him is he's a good all-around back. I think he's good on third down. He's good in pass protection. But really, we got him because he's really good on special teams, and I think he'll help us in that regard week one. So that's the main reason we got him.
Jay, is Jordan Reed cleared protocol?
No, he's still going through the process right now. He's just simply, the cleared thing and not cleared thing, I think you're cleared to participate in certain drills and then see how you do the next day, and then the next day, and the next day, and then they'll clear you for actual full contact. So we're just taking baby steps right now, and hopefully he'll get cleared up in a couple days.
So you think he'll do some stuff today?
I'm hoping so, yeah. We just had a walkthrough right now. We're going to see how he's feeling before practice and go from there.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Coach.
Jay.
All right, thank you.